So a couple days ago, CERN turned their machine back on, and people on social media were in an uproar that, oh my God, we're gonna have all these crazy Mandela effects. I was skeptical. I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I was also like, at this point, I don't know what to believe. There's so much fake news, but y'all not about to do this to me. Y'all are not about to make me think that Chick-fil-A was always spelled with a CK. This is not right. I could have sworn it was CHIK or CHIC, but there was no CK. I've driven cross country with my husband. We've been to like so many different states, and you see the cow on the billboard, and there was no CK. And it's something so small, but it's like, why are they messing with us? What is going? I feel crazy. I feel crazy. This is crazy. Because it's the most random, weird things. Has anybody noticed this? Tell me if I'm wrong. Don't come for me. Help me help myself, okay? Because this doesn't make sense. I don't get it. Is this right? Was it always like this? Now they say hypnotic was never with a Y, it was always HP. And I know that companies rebrand, but this is saying this was always like this, and I don't like that. This is I sound crazy, don't I? I'm gonna go. This don't feel right, y'all. Like, and it's like, if we in a multiverse, can we win some money? Like, what kind of multiverse is it that we just changing letters on names to mess with people's mind? Like, it was never a CK. It was not. I'm gonna go. It's too much. It's too much.
I haven't done a Mandela effect video in a while, so let's talk about Mandela effects that affect food. So let's see if your memories are correct. But before we start, I want to briefly explain what the Mandela effect is to all the new people watching. False memories, including the alleged death of Nelson Mandela in the 1980s, are known collectively as the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect describes a situation in which a person or group of people have a false memory of an event. Fiona Broom coined the term over a decade ago when she created a website detailing her recollection of former South African President Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s. Nelson Mandela, however, did not die in prison in the 1980s. After serving 27 years in prison, Mandela served as the President of South Africa between 1994 and 1999 and passed away in 2013. So anyway, let's get started. Let's talk about the cereal Captain Crunch, or Cap'n Crunch. So this cereal was made in 1959, pretty much 60 years ago. But how do you guys remember the name of this famous cereal? Is it Captain Crunch? Or is it Cap'n Crunch? Let me know in the comments below. If you said Captain Crunch, you are wrong. It's Cap'n Crunch. Yeah, pretty weird. It looks weird and it sounds kind of weird. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Did you get this one right or wrong? Next one concerning the famous cereal Cocoa Puffs. With that famous cracked out bird. What is the true spelling of Cocoa Puffs? Is it Cocoa Puffs with C-O-C-O? Or Cacao Puffs with C-O-C-O-A? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Well, if you said cocoa with a C-O-C-O, you are wrong. It's actually Cacao Puffs, but pronounced cocoa. Let me know in the comments who got this one wrong. But yeah, the cereal was also made decades ago, and it's always been Cacao Puffs. And the final one kind of tripped me out the most, because I remember eating these snacks when I was a kid, and I'd eat them pretty often. And as a kid, I've always had a habit of reading the wrappers and reading the name and the ingredients on food and snacks. I mean, I still do that. But before I show you, just from memory, what do you remember this famous snack being called? Comment down below. Well, if you said Rice Krispie Treats, you are wrong. It's always been Rice Krispies Treats. This one tripped me out the most because as a kid, I'd always read the wrappers of things and the titles of things. And Rice Krispie Treats were my favorite snack. See, I can't even say the word Rice Krispies Treats. I have to say Rice Krispie Treats. It just doesn't sound right. Rice Krispies Treats. But yeah, they've always been Rice Krispie Treats. In fact, before the Rice Krispie Treat snack bars, Rice Krispie was just a cereal. And then after about 1995, they started making it into a snack bar kind of thing. But yeah, the original release date of Rice Krispie is 1939, and it's always been Rice Krispies Treats. Yeah, even one Redditor said this: Rice Krispie Treats or Rice Krispies Treats. So I was messing around online and I saw an ad for Rice Krispies Treats, not Rice Krispie Treats. I know that some people might say that it's just how people say it, but I disagree. Even the package looks forcibly put together. I don't know, but let me know if anyone has anything to say about this. But yeah, guys, did you get all of them wrong, or all of them right, or some of them wrong or right? Let me know. We are out.
Bro, the world's not real. Nothing's real. Like the shit I learned on TikTok. You know, if you take something and you rub it in a corner, it'll fucking stick. Like, say your bed's in a corner. You know, I'm at the hotel. Bed's in the corner. Bam. Remote. Just, like...
Before and CERN did their bullshit, this is King Tut. Okay? This one snake. You don't see no damn bird. Okay? This is King Tut. I don't know what the fuck this shit is. This is not. And what? No, everybody knows that King Tut had a snake. There wasn't no extra shit. CERN, you need to stop. You need to stop the bullshit. You need to stop changing stuff. We're tired of it. We just want to live and then die. That's it. I mean, don't you guys ever wonder, you know, now that we left the reality we was in, a week ago? Don't you wonder if our physical selves are, some part of us is still there, living off our life? With the regular King Tut, not this bullshit. And then let's not talk about the lightning and the silent thundering and all that. I don't know if that's what it's called, but and no rain for hours? Like, come on. I never seen that shit in my life. There's a lot of strange shit going up in the sky. You guys need to pay attention. Because if you're not seeing it, it means you're not woke. None of this shit feels real. You walk out in the sun don't even feel real. Don't feel real at all. Feels like we're living out of a dream or something. Doesn't feel like we're actually meant to be in this reality anymore. Like, I want to go back home. I want to go back to where I was. And then Chick-fil-A, there was no K. I know for a fact. I literally drive past Chick-fil-A every single day, you know, going to work. And I'm like, that sounds good, but I heard they biscuits is dry and they chicken dry, whatever. So I never go. But it was never with a K. Thanks, CERN. You done it again. Why does my teeth look yellow, y'all? It's this stupid filter. Okay, there we go. All right, this is me. I don't know what I had on, but... I'm kind of frustrated. It's kind of frustrating. Nothing seems real. Like, you know it's not real. It's not real anymore. They keep flip-flopping us around from reality to reality, dimension to dimension. And I feel like each time we're losing a part of ourselves. And that's why we don't feel alive anymore. Yeah. All right, guys, I love y'all. I'm about to get off here for the day. I'm not posting any more videos. King Tut kind of got me upset with that bird.
You guys, I'm shook to the core right now because I am experiencing a real-life Mandela effect, and I need to share it because I feel crazy right now, and I feel like I need to hear everyone's opinion. So bear with me. Okay, think to yourself, what brand makes these frozen pizza rolls? What brand did we all grow up with making these frozen pizza rolls? Ready? Okay, got your answer? You would say this, correct? Tostino's. I know for a fact this was Tostino's pizza rolls. No. You Google it now, look what shows up. Totino's. What? What is Totino's? I have never heard of that in my life. I know for a fact that this was Tostino's my entire life growing up. I've called literally six friends, like, I called my brother, I called his girlfriend, like, someone explain. Someone explain.
Am I the only one who has started to notice a difference in the consciousness level amongst the apps? Like, I'm so serious, because one of my videos could go up on TikTok and everybody in the comments like, oh my gosh, girl, I'm going through the same thing right now, so relatable. But let that same video get reposted on Instagram. Girl, the bitches in the comments talk about my dead granny, my lace. They all like, what does she even talk about? I don't get it. I don't understand. I know you don't, Rockhead. But I'm so serious. There is a difference in the consciousness level. And it got me thinking about the saying, as above, so below, which technically just means if something can exist in one reality, it can exist in another reality on a different scale or magnitude. Like, you can literally start to look at the apps as people almost. Like, look. TikTok is a real bitch. Instagram is a fake bitch. Facebook is a messy bitch. And then Twitter is a sag.
Here's a new one for the Mandela effect. I remember the movie Stand By Me and the part where they're talking about the dog in the junkyard. And they said, this is what I remember, they said, sick balls chopper. But now they're saying it a different way. Tell me how you remember them saying it. I'm going to play it.
No trespassing was enforced by Milo Pressman, the junkman, and his dog Chopper, the most feared and least seen dog in Castle Rock. Legend had it that Milo had trained Chopper not just to sick, but to 6 specific parts of the human anatomy. Thus, a kid who had illegally scaled the junkyard fence might hear the dread cry, "Chopper, sick balls."
Go Google what the Mandela effect is. It really makes you question your memory and the masses' memory.
Yeah, you like my outfit, don't even make the deal. I thought you said you had a girl on the light bill. Always in my face, talking this and that. Girl, I had the best of friends for the Cadillac. You ride clean.
According to Russia, there's much more to Antarctica than the public is being told. They claim that top governments worldwide know exactly what's going on there, but they haven't disclosed it until now. Possibly an entire continent below Antarctica's ice? Could this be Atlantis? Some theorists even believe that an ancient civilization that once fell actually lives and inhabits the continent below the ice. This is what essentially attracted the larger world governments to Antarctica, to see if they couldn't find this alleged continent. But why would this important discovery be kept top secret from the public? Well, many believe it's because of a discovery that Russia supposedly made back in the early 2000s. In the early 2000s, a Russian scientific expedition made an amazing discovery. After drilling 2,000 meters into the ice shelf, they'd break into a cavern and discover freshwater lakes. And much to their surprise, these lakes were not frozen. It was essentially fresh water that had been isolated down there for what they believed to be 10 million years. So after making the discovery of the freshwater lakes, the scientists decided that they wanted to set up an expedition to drill down to the largest of the lakes, Lake Vostok. It's said that this borehole took over 10 years to dig, and now it's fitted with an elevator that you can take all the way down. This elevator would take 8 scientists down to the lakes to verify their existence. But little did these scientists know, they were about to embark on an expedition that could cost them their lives. Shortly after they began exploring the lake, they would have a run-in with an organism known as Organism 46B. Organism 46B was very similar to that of an octopus, except it was much more lethal. It said it had a venom that could paralyze its prey for up to 150 feet. Then it would rip them apart at its leisure. And 46B did just this to one of their colleagues while they were diving in the lake. They said that though it is just like an octopus, it is actually much larger and has 14 legs. It's believed that 46B has some traits of the mimic octopus from the Indo-Pacific, except 46B could actually take its shapeshifting to another level. One crew member found this out the hard way. He witnessed as what he believed another diver was approaching him while in the water. As a result, he really didn't pay much attention to it until it was too late. Organism 46B had actually shapeshifted itself to mimic the look of a fellow diver. He would paralyze the crew member and tear him apart. After this second death of one of their colleagues, they knew that they had to capture the creature in order to study it. Naturally, Russia wanted to study it so they could possibly use it for warfare in the future. So they'd use the female crew member who was said to have extra fantastical traits. She was highly skilled at camouflaging herself and avoiding being killed. To me, this almost sounds like a Black Widow type woman from Avengers. So they'd place a massive net in the water and use her as bait. Sure enough, the creature would show up for its feast. As it approached, she'd quickly evade the beast, and they'd capture it in a massive net. They would then get the beast on the elevator, and they'd send it to the top, where scientists would put it in a tank. They'd then study it for years on end, and it's alleged that they still even have 46B contained. This is allegedly how they've come up with all the information they have on it. Russia also wanted to study the venom it used to paralyze its prey from over 150 feet. This is just one of the possible stories that have leaked from Antarctica. It makes you wonder what else could be down there. But I gotta know, do y'all believe in this story? Do you believe in 46B? Let me know in the comments. As always, my content is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not portraying it as absolute fact. I tell the stories and let you guys decide. I know I've told this story before, but this is kind of a different angle on it. I thought it was interesting. And it was a quick story I could do, as I've been super busy trying to get my apartment around. And don't worry, y'all. Navigator Across the Ice Walls is coming up real soon, I promise. I like to let the last one marinate for a week or so before I go on to the next one. Maybe this next one I'll make a little longer for you guys. Either way, I hope y'all enjoyed this quick video. Keep watching, stay tuned, stay in the love, stay in the light, be kind to others. I am out.
Could humanity have accidentally unleashed an apex predator in Antarctica? On February 13th, 2021, a post popped up on a Google Earth thread appearing to show what looked like a giant spider in a Google Earth image of Antarctica. And a user with the name Son of Antanon showed up claiming to be the foremost expert on the subject, even going as far as to post these pictures of a commemorative plaque and wall clock, proving that his father was indeed stationed as a medical doctor at McMurdo Base in Antarctica. If these videos about the paranormal, supernatural, secret, hidden history interest you, click the link in my bio and subscribe to my brand new YouTube channel. Antanon claims that for an 11-month period in the 90s, his father was the sole medical doctor at McMurdo Research Base in Antarctica. He would pretty regularly accompany scientists and armed soldiers on expeditions that would routinely take 5-mile detours around certain areas. And in certain instances, while taking these detours, he thought he could make out the outline of buildings in these areas. He said the site that they most regularly had to detour around was roughly 30 miles south and 10 miles east of his location, which is here. During this thread, one of the other Anons in the chat started doing some Google Earth snooping in that exact area and found this bizarre giant monolith with the bottom half blurred out. The doctor befriended a 10-year veteran of the site, and once they were a little bit closer, he asked him, "Hey, why do we avoid those areas?" But the doctor just went pale and told him to shut up and then reported him to his commanding officer. Since Antanon's dad was the only medical doctor on site, he was also the pathologist, so the person that takes care of the bodies. And he was becoming very suspicious because he really didn't think this would be as big of a part of his job as it ended up being. There were a lot of casualties and some really strange injuries, like fully severed limbs and bodies found in half. But conveniently, since the remains were almost always frozen, he was always instructed to list the cause of death as hypothermia. He did try to go about it the right way. He tried talking to people, but either they knew nothing or they would just clam up and report him. So he basically just started rifling through people's shit, which usually I'm against, but at this point I'm all for it. The dude's an absolute mad lad. And if you don't think this is the absolute perfect stock photo for this next segment, you're crazy and I don't care. So while he was rifling through the workstation of one of the higher level researchers, he found a drawer full of journals. And these journals were full of information about what Antanon would call striders. From what he could tell, these creatures were found while the researchers were taking bore samples, which is when they drill big chunks of the ice out. Of course, they thought these creatures were dead because they were surrounded by ice that was at least hundreds of thousands of years old. But of course, upon thawing them out, a couple of them animated and violently escaped and had since become a huge nuisance for anyone or anything operating within that area of the research base. Now, Antanon's dad would go on to discover a lot more about these spiders, and it kind of seems like they're just one of many entry points into why Antarctica is so secretive and important. So comment part 2 if this interests you.
Oh, we've got your ass. We've got your ass now. So it turns out, if you travel past Antarctica, there's more land. The reason why I don't want you to believe that you live on a globe, because if the world was round, that would mean if you travel in one direction, you would come back on yourself. But if the world was flat, that's a whole different story. You see, you can travel anywhere in the world. Anywhere. No matter how far you travel, you will never come back on yourself. Never. If you look into the center of this map, you'll see the continents we know. Africa, Europe, America, so on. And you see that ring of ice? That's Antarctica, so they say. But if you travel past that ring of ice, there's more land, and they got the maps to prove it.
What you're seeing here is Antarctica. Okay? Zoom into Antarctica on Google Earth. Right about the center. Right here. You following? You're going to see a dot. Right there. Okay? A dot. The dot gets bigger. Starts to look like Pac-Man. Okay? Hit the little dude-looking icon on the right. Okay, it'll be there when you go to fucking Google Earth. It'll load up something like this, go down to the flat, no, we don't want to say flat Earth, but the level of the Earth. And then you'll see this. Okay. Okay. But silver, you say, what's so fucked up about that, right? Well, giant fucking hallway. Right? If you zoom in on the end of the hallway, are those fucking trees? Are those giant buildings? And those are fucking trees, right? I haven't done any drugs today, I swear to God. That's, what the fuck? Like, go look for your damn self. Just so you know, it's there. Go look.
You guys hear about what Russia did all over TikTok? Check out this TikTok video. Russia is the first country to break this Antarctic treaty that all countries that supposedly go to war together all the time don't agree on all kinds of things, but all countries agreed not to touch Antarctica until now. Also remember that Russia and China just recently tied their currencies to real commodities, unlike our fake fiat currency that all the other countries used, backed by debt. They're splitting off from the world banks, and now this, Antarctica. Some groundbreaking truth that I'm sure you're already aware of is about to hit the mainstream, so don't be shocked when it happens.
Understand there's already a pyramid that's been exposed by that some pictures have been taken of. It's just going to expose everything at some point. So at some point, whatever's under all of that ice is going to melt away, and it's just going to be out there in plain view for everyone to see. So it's one of those things you could only keep it a secret for so long at this point. So I don't think that they're going to keep it a secret until the whole thing's melted, but at some point we're going to be able to see it all.
I did hear of a craft that is sticking out of the ice quite dramatically that they're trying to hide on Google Earth and other imagery, using three-dimensional imagery and stuff, and trying to cover it up. Do you know about this?
Yeah, so recently there was a photograph of what they're calling an ice ship that looks like a boat that's been frozen in the water. My understanding is that they changed that, so instead of it looking just like a cylinder tube on the ground, they made it look like an icebreaker or something that's there. But yeah, my understanding is that's literally something sticking up out of the ice that is not an icebreaker, is not an actual sea, vessel.
Right. And also a scientific team did discover flying over this giant crevasse, this hole in the ground. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, there is a hole at the South Pole, and there's one at the North Pole. So the one at the South Pole is the one that people know the least about, or probably have seen the least of. The northern one is the one in which old sailors, when they would talk about approaching the edge of the world and would see this, long edge of the ocean falling down into nowhere. Well, it's big enough that if you're on a boat, you can't see end to end, right? So it would seem like it stretches endlessly, but it doesn't. It just goes in a big circle. My understanding is that the water underneath the ocean, which according to NASA has more water than the oceans have it. So there's more water on the planet under the oceans than we have in the oceans. Just try to grasp that for a second. And that there's essentially a recycling process. So as water at the north falls down into the hole, it goes down into the bottom, which then just pushes back up in the oceans and, balances out the water levels. So, but all the drawings and so forth from sailors back in the old days saying it's the end of the world. No, that was the hole at the North Pole, which is in the middle of the water, as opposed to the one that's South Pole that is in the middle of a landmass. But apparently they're the most direct ways to get to the Agartha network is through those holes. Not saying that they're not guarded. You can just go down there without someone saying, what are you doing down here? But those are, my understanding, the most direct access points, which is why the base was built down at that point right next to it so that there was an easy in and out between the species in the Agartha network and the base on the surface. And whatever was happening on the surface at the time, it was so long ago. My understanding, like 400, 500,000